What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former big leaguer, former first-round pick with the Kansas City Royals. And man, oh man, we come a little early today. Everybody's kind of dragging a little bit. We had the holiday weekend, and I know I was. And today just feels kind of, kind of crazy, and I'm making it even more crazy, man. I wanted to get my boy here with me right here just to make sure I get him on here, and we had to come a little bit earlier. So we just waking y'all up a little bit more and kind of adjusting back into the work week, man. And so we are Tuesday a little earlier than usual, but we going back to I ain't gonna say we're going back. I did have a New Mexico junior college coach friend of mine on last year, but we're going to Albuquerque. All right, New Mexico, University of New Mexico, the Lobos, man. But I'm anxious to hear about the program because when I think of New Mexico, I think of, for some reason, basketball. All right, I think of the Lobos basketball program. I'm anxious to hear about the baseball program. I spent a lot of time in Albuquerque. Love that area. If you ever had a chance or get out there, we're going to talk about Albuquerque in a minute, but oh my God, talking about the city and prettiness. And if you like that Northwest, type, I keep saying Northwest, Southwest, type of feel, you're going to love the Albuquerque area. So anyway, I'm joined with head coach of New Mexico, Ray Birmingham. Coach, how you doing today, brother?
Good to see you, D. Good to see you, buddy.
All right, good, man. So listen, what I usually have all my guests, I want to go back. All right. I want to know the man behind the program. So if you could, coach, take me back to the beginning, man. Where you from, playing career, and let's go through that coaching, that coaching tree and coaching, where you've been to the point of being there at New Mexico.
Well, I'm from Hobbs, New Mexico, where New Mexico Junior College is at. I played high school ball there. I went off to Tulsa just a brief moment and then went to New Mexico State and graduated there. And then I started coaching high school in 1978. And so
yeah, I was born.
In Mayfield High School in Las Cruces, we ended up being
the local basketball program,
for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I coached football and baseball there.
Nice.
Back to New Mexico Junior College and started coaching basketball there. And I coached Avery Johnson was at New Mexico Junior College. And
nice.
Mookie Blaylock was in the league. It was a really serious league.
Nice. I remember Mookie, man, good player, University of Oklahoma, right? And then went and played a long time in the NBA. I remember Mookie, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I loved him. He was good. We beat him. We were number one team in the nation.
Nice.
And I trying to talk him into starting baseball. They hadn't started baseball at New Mexico Junior College yet. So I went across the street and started coaching a little place called College of Southwest, which was right across and down the road a little bit from New Mexico Junior College. And they wanted to start baseball, so we started baseball. I only stayed there 2 years. The second year, we were in the top 25 teams in the country. And DBU beat us to go to the World Series in the regional play. Then I went to New Mexico Junior College, saw what happened there, and wanted to start baseball. So I went across the street and started baseball there. And then we ended up being the number one team in the country in the mid-2000s. And then the University of New Mexico called me and asked me if I would come up here and clean up their program. So I did. And we've been in the top 25 7 times over the last 14 years. Won 8 championships, and we've done okay. Sent a lot of big leaguers up to the big leagues, including the catcher for Silver Slugger Award winner Mitch Garver for the Twins.
Nice. All right. Yeah. This so let me give a little shout outs, coach, for the people joining in with us today a little earlier. All right. Clancy, how you doing, Clancy? Vidal was good. We got Keenan was good. Arkansas in the house. Stevie, what's up?
That's good.
Hector,
Arkansas, that's good.
you said what?
I was born in Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's good.
Really? Yeah, we got a good amount of guys that listen in from Little Rock area, West Memphis. I spend a lot of time, and Keenan's been part of my program. His son, Saul, what's up? All right, and I'm sure I'm missing a few. John, what's up? Okay, all right. We'll get. I know Jamila and Bill out in Jersey. So, all right, we got some questions coming in already, Coach. All right, let me get this question out to you. You're coming in early. Hi. All right, we have Clancy. Shout out to Clancy. All right, great last name. Would you cut a 13U? Would you cut a 13U kid because he is too small? Skill wise, he's top 3. He's just the smallest. Would you cut him?
No. Baseball size doesn't matter. It's not the size of the man, it's the size of the fight. I like that. I don't care how big they are. Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, Willie Mays and Hank Aaron weren't that big.
You ain't lying.
Yeah. Hank Aaron was $160 when he got the Pro Bowl.
I love it, man. Shout out to Allen. We got like Texas. We got Pullman Ballers. What's up? All right. That's it, man. Tell me where y'all listening in from. I know most of y'all, but every now and then we got some new names. I see the Allen and Terry Lee and a lot of new faces. Tell me where y'all listening in from. All right, and I love to hear it. All right, so Coach, man, like I said, Clancy said, thanks, Coach. All right.
Go get him. If I can help you, I'll be glad to help you.
You heard that. All right, Clancy. Brenton, what's up? Clancy, Jacksonville, Florida. All right. Gwynn, Arkansas. Asia, what's up? All right, Asia, what's going on? Good to see you on. All right. So let's go. I want to learn about University of New Mexico. Coach, if you could, man, tell me a little bit about the enrollment. All right, what conference you guys play in? And we start from there, if you could.
Well, we've got about 30,000, 35,000 students. When I came here, the baseball field back in 2007 needed some work. And so now it's had turned into one of the finest fields around. Stadium, all that stuff. We got $4 million locker room and facilities there.
Nice.
We've put about another $10 million into the baseball field. So it's turned into it's a great place to hit. It's in the Mountain West. Mountain West baseball is usually ranked 6th it's right outside the top 5. Aaron Judge, Strasburg, you can go on and on and on. Mitch Garver, Alex Bregman's from this area. He's a good kid, but with praise. I mean,
pretty good.
So there's been some good players from this area, and it's a great place to hit for sure. And as you said earlier when we were not on camera, but it's also a good place to pitch because if you can get them out here, you can get them out anywhere, and that's awesome. So I think our league's good. San Diego State's in our league, Fresno State's in our league, UNLV's in our league, Nevada's in our league. It's a really good league. We're trying to expand our league. We play when Texas was the number 1 team in the country. We drove down there and beat them. When TCU was number 1 team in the country, we drove down there and beat them. When Stanford was number 1, we went over to Stanford and beat them. USC, UCLA, that's who we play. Arizona State, University of Arizona. Texas Tech has turned into a powerhouse, and we beat them. So that's our schedule. So we like that. I like my kids to play the best, and we're going to go find the best. And if somebody pops off, we'll drive over to their house and we'll play them there.
I love it. Hey, and I know for a fact, parents listening in. So one beautiful thing about Albuquerque, And like he said, and I talked about it behind the scenes. So if you're a hitter, you know, you can put up some serious numbers because that ball flies. Now, don't be scared from a pitching standpoint because, you know, like Coach said, if you just like no different from in the big major leagues pitching in Colorado, right? Everybody's scared, but if you have a solid ERA at home, that means you would dominate everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? In the
problem.
league,
It'll be no problem.
it'll be no problem. So again, if you got hitters, you know, outfielders, I'm coach. I'm gonna ask you what type of players and all of that. But I know from playing a lot in that area, you need some guys that can go get in the outfield because it's going to be, you know, it's going to be some guys that's going to be hitting gap to gap out there. So if you love to run and you're a great defender, I mean, you know, I'm not going to speak for you, coach. So what type of guys do you like when it comes to the recruiting? You know, what type of, you know, guys and where, you know, New Mexico. I'm not, you know, I know a couple guys that run programs in New Mexico. Shout out to my boy Ryan Brewer. But you know, it's not like I believe it's, you know, you got Alex Bergman, but as a whole, I don't know if it's a hotbed of just talent there. Do you go in and out of state as far as recruiting side?
I do. I go all over the country just like I did in junior college. I mean, our team is, and even international. I mean, we have some kids from Puerto Rico and Mexico and all over. So it's a minor league team, really, pretty much what it is. And yeah, our outfield's 420 in center, 405 in the gaps, and 350 in the corners. So I need guys to go cover some ground because it's a big outfield.
So recruit all over, big outfield. If you love to hit, you know what I'm saying? Man, and I promise you, I'm a hitter by trade. You know, I talk to all the college coaches, and you guys see me as this, you know, but I love hitting and talk hitting. My guys that's been listening to me for a long time know how much I enjoy hitting. Hell, I'm a hitting coach now with the Pirates organization. But my thing is, if you love to hit, you put up some numbers. Hey, you know what I mean? Listen, you need to go ahead and take a trip out there and check it out, and because it'll be fun out there. Now, defensively, you're gonna have to run, but offensively, you're gonna have to. It'll be a nice little. It's a nice trip, man. So anyway, coach, let me man, we got Florida, we got Gwynn, Arkansas, Tasha, what's up? Mississippi in the house. We got Orlando, Florida. We got Don Cannon, Houston in the house. Terry Lee, Mississippi Gulf Coast. Mike, what's up? NYC. We just talking about NYC. Shout out to New York. Scott, we got North Carolina in the house. We got Brian, we got Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the house. All right. Russ says Hot Springs has a lot of Negro League baseball history. That's right. It really does. All right, Keenan. Keenan says, shout out to Keenan says, Coach, do you recruit in the Arkansas area?
We do. We're recruiting a couple kids from that area right now. And Dave Van Horn at University of Arkansas is one of my probably 30 years of being a close friend of mine. Coached on the USA team together. But yeah, Arkansas, we recruit.
All right. Is there like a main hub of like area wise? Do you like, you know, you really, you know, it may be Albuquerque area, I don't know, but you know, is there a hub like where you like, I know this caliber kid, I know what type of kid that I'm gonna get from this particular area?
You know, we recruit around us a lot, Texas, Colorado, and Arizona. Some California, some Washington, some Oklahoma. We have some kids from Oklahoma, and we've got a couple kids from Arkansas we're recruiting. We had a kid from Missouri. We go all the way to New York, Minnesota, you know, those places, Georgia, Atlanta. We've had some kids from Florida. Yeah, we go all over. The great thing about here is the cost of school is about like a junior college price. It's unbelievably affordable. That's a big deal. And the other thing, when I recruit kids, we get some raw kids too. I mean, Aaron Judge was raw when he got into the league, and so was Mitch Garver. And look what they're doing now. Silver Slugger award winners, you know, and but there's a lot of kids out there that they just need time to develop and get the right training, and they can do it. But the thing that's common with all of them is character. You got to have good character, man.
How do you, speaking of those type of characters and getting those type of guys into your program, is it just a feel? Is it many times on the phone and getting many touches of seeing them, and how does that, how do you get those type of kids into your program? How's that work?
Do you know Woody Hunt? Do you know that name?
No, I don't, Coach.
Woody Hunt was at Cumberland College in Tennessee.
Nashville, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Lebanon, Tennessee, or something like
that.
Yeah,
right outside of Nashville. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I played on their campus, so I don't know the coach though. Sorry. Yeah.
Great. He's been coaching for 40, 50 years. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's the winningest coach in NAIA.
Okay.
And so I make a lot of phone calls. So we can look on your social media and get a feel about who you are. We make a lot of phone calls to people that coached against you and see what kind of person you are. I'll call the principal and the teachers at your high school to find out who you are, because I don't want you to come this far unless I absolutely know you're of good character.
I love that, Coach. Man, this is you hear it, but sometimes, do you ever make mistakes? Do you ever get a kid in and he's super talented and you love him, and but you just be like, what, I messed up with this kid, it's attitude wise.
Yep. It goes on a lot, and you got to make sure there's little things you can change, but you can't change the big things. The big things are there, and unfortunately that happens. So I just reiterate the fact that every walk of life, off the field and on the field, you got to walk the walk, because all the guys that are really good to make a living at this game, it isn't necessarily about talent, because there's a lot of guys more physically talented than Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman he would come to me and say, Coach, would you watch this? And I would tell him that's not very good. And he said, okay, in 2 months, and he'd fix it. And those guys, and making good grades, people like for them to live in their community. They like to be around you. They like to go to work every day. Win a championship, and any championships just don't come just on talent. Now, you want good chemistry in your locker room. And the coach at Texas Tech's a longtime friend of mine. I coached against him when he played shortstop. He says good pitching gives good chemistry, which, okay, I got you. But if you can't find the types of character people that can be unselfish to try to win a championship together, and they make it all about them, you're probably not going to win
it. I love it. All right, Coach, we got shout out to my boy D Brooks in Alabama. Shout out to Bubba in Alabama. Shout out to TC in Nashville. Shout out to Nadine in Atlanta. All right. We have
Swanson's down there doing well. I coach Dansby. There's a guy with great character.
All right. Shout out to Isaiah out there in the Tampa area. Stevie B in Chicago. Stevie asks real fast, what about Chicago? Do you recruit in Chicago?
I do. I have a former player named Vince Davis. Came to play for me in junior college, pitched a little cup of coffee in the big leagues. He's part of the inner city program in Chicago, and Vince Davis wants his kids to win and be good. And Vince Davis is a great character. So if you can find Vince Davis, hang out with him, man. He's class.
All right, you heard that, Stevie. All right. Boy here, let's see. Keith below says go low, hashtag go Lobos. All right. My boy D Brooks asks, Coach, what is your approach on dealing with social issues amongst African American players?
I feel the pain. I'm with them, and we're directing it. And you have to remember that I've coached all walks of life my entire career, and baseball's a brotherhood, and baseball has always been a brotherhood, and it's going to stay. I wear number 1 because as a young kid, Pee Wee Reese, and if you'll go back and look, Pee Wee Reese and really touched my heart as a young kid because he was Jackie Robinson's brother when he didn't have a lot of people on his side, and Jackie Robinson's my hero.
Yeah, they shout out to my boy Bozeman, the actor who played Jackie, man, passed away last week. But you know, Javier asked, let me see if I can pull it up for you, Coach. All right. Javier asks, how does the roster look for upcoming year? Is it like all the other programs full with roster of 50 guys?
No. So I had to make a value judgment with guys. And yeah, there's 50 guys here, but I recruit my team, and then I will allow certain guys, mostly pitchers, if they want to come, give it a shot. I will give you a certain amount of time to see if you can compete against the guys that I've got. And they've got a small window. I think everybody should have an opportunity. I think people that are worried about how many shortstops you have don't want to compete. And I think you should say, bring 100 shortstops. I'll beat them all out. Those are the guys I want.
So speaking of bringing in guys, and so are you guys, where's your recruiting class as far as like, you know, is it you're done with the 2021s? Are you on the 2022, 23? Where you're at? Where are you guys at right now?
Yeah, we're on the 22s and 23s, but, you know, there's a lot of guys committing ninth graders, and a lot of stuff happens between ninth grade and your senior year. Warwick Dunn's a good friend of mine. Warwick Dunn was a football player.
Yeah.
And Warwick Dunn, nobody knew who Warwick Dunn was till his senior year. And he was a number 5 running back at LaSalle in New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans. Yeah, he was he on his high school team.
Yep.
Wow.
So bad grades. The number 1 running back, bad grades. The other one got a girl pregnant. The other one got into drugs. The other one got in trouble, and he became the 1 running back. So a lot can happen, and if you see, they're all character issues.
Yep.
He has great character. And that paid off for him. So you stay the course, you keep plugging, like Clancy. Clancy was talking about being little. Well, you know what, Clancy? Just keep plugging, buddy, because just keep yourself in the game. Somehow, somewhere, keep yourself in the conversation, because you don't know, body-wise, mental-wise, something clicks, and boom, all of a sudden you're the guy. Just keep fighting. They spoke about keep fighting, man.
Yes, it is. You ain't lying. You are not lying. So you talk about enrollment, you talk about the price of a junior college, but you never got into that price, Coach. So is it a difference in in-state and out-of-state? And what are those, what are those prices?
So kid makes great grades, which I try to tell them all the time. Then the University of New Mexico wants to recruit you because we want smart students. We're a school. It's a school first. And so the first thing they do, if you have a 3.2 or higher GPA and a good ACT, SAT score, say 22, then you can apply and have a great shot at getting out-of-state waiver. So your out-of-state costs are waived. And then that means school costs you $3,800 a semester. Yeah, wow. You can't beat that.
No, you can't. Wow.
No.
Now I know with
I know a lot of girls that spend that at the mall on a weekend.
You ain't lying about that, Coach. Ain't girls, women, everybody in between. Yeah, that's.
I go shopping.
Yeah, that's 30 minutes right there. But yeah. So, because of the COVID issue and everything like that, have you guys? I know you guys are kind of in-house practicing and stuff like that. But what about camps, anything like that? Have you guys lined up anything in the wintertime or anything summers?
We have a very conservative governor who has really stayed on top of us in this state to make sure, and our COVID numbers are way low as a result. So a lot of people don't like it, but it had to happen. So it saved a lot of lives. So what we've done is make sure that we practice. Like we've had to divide our practices up like catchers. You don't want, like if one catcher's with a group of people, he gets sick, all those guys are gone. So we've kind of split them up like that to practice until we get into the team deal. But the safety of our student athletes is real important. But we won't have any camps until our governor says we can have some camps.
Okay.
It's been shut down.
So as far as being in New Mexico and the recruiting side, I like, again, I know my boy runs tournaments and stuff like that, but when you're, on a normal year, where are you guys going for showcases and, recruiting side? Do you guys make it out to the East, Atlanta's, or do you go to the Phoenix area, Texas, for showcases?
We do. We do go to those places. And the showcases, we'll get a name. We do a lot of phone calling. And we do a lot of calling. We have the United States divided up. Okay. And so everywhere in the country, we call every section of the country. And we start asking for names. And we'll get a name, and then we cross-check a name, and then we cross-check that name again. And then when we got enough yes, 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 another yes, now we go see you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And then how long has that been your formula?
Well, probably since 1988, because I like when in 1990s when I started that junior college program, in the summer, I took 5 summers. Yeah. So first summer I drove from Hobbs, New Mexico, and I drove through every little town or every tournament in the West Coast, Arizona, California, Washington. Came back down through Nevada and Utah. I met only the people that knew who all the players were. I didn't look for players. I looked for the go-to guys. And then I did the same thing to the north, to the east, and to the south over the next 4 years. I stayed in touch with those guys because they knew they're there every day, and they were my eyes and ears. And I'd turkey at Christmas or something like that, stay in touch with them. And then when those names, I would call those guys from my office every night, and those guys would tell me who's the guy. Save me some time and save me some money. That's right. So if you want to be really, really good, you impress the people in your area. I will call somebody that lives in your area, and they say, hey, that kid over at so-and-so, he's getting it on.
It's funny you say that because everything is about exposure. I just talked to you about my showcase I'm doing, and hopefully you can at least tune in to the link, and I'll give you.
Now I can call you, and you'll say, hey, I got this guy.
And that's what I was telling you behind the scenes. It's just about relationship building, right? So what do you say to those parents that feel like, their kid is not being seen, or, they're not, getting the love that they feel like, they should be getting? What do you say to those parents?
Well, I'll tell you a good story. So they start doing it at 8 years old, and they do it all the way to 18. And I'm a religious guy, and I think God sends you messages. So there's a kid in New Mexico a couple years back, and he was a decent player. And he came to me and said, I'd like to play here. And I said, okay, cool. Now, there's some we were in the top 25 in the country at the time he showed up. And I had some guys coming back, and I told him the whole truth. I'm a truth teller. So I said, now, you're a pretty good ball player, but you got some things you got to get better at. But I noticed here that your ACT score was 35. And I've never seen a 35. So I said, what is your degree in? He goes, engineering. And I said, you got scholarships? And he goes, yes, I do. I said, they're academic. He says, yes, they are. And I said, where are they to? He said, MIT, Purdue, and Texas A&M. So I said, God's telling you something. So go there on your academic scholarship. I'll call the coach for you. and let you try out there so you can get a reality check whether you can or you can't. But at the meantime, you're doing this to get to school to get a degree and to be smart and make a living. If baseball turns out for you, then you can go do that for a little while, and then you're going to go back and use that to make a living. So the kid went to Texas A&M.
Okay.
Rob Childress is a close friend of mine. Known him. I've coached against him when he was a pitcher. And I called Rob. He gave the kid a tryout. He didn't make the squad. And he looked around. He said, "Woo," like that. So he went to school there and finished school. And I told him, God's telling you about your brain cells. You got a 5 on the ACT. That's probably 3 times what mine was. So you got to get after it, cowboy, and use that. So he got recruited out of Texas A&M, but not by the Yankees. He got recruited by Exxon, British Petroleum, and Shell. And they flew into College Station in a Learjet and took to London, Atlanta, and L.A., put in a penthouse, and begged him to go to work for them. So these kids need to understand that recruiting goes on not only in baseball, but in business. And if you're smart, play baseball because you love it. And if you do get an opportunity, but these are colleges, they're education. So you have a foundation the rest of your life.
I love it, man.
Use everything you got, not just put all your eggs in one basket.
I love it, man. It's great advice, Coach. You know, great advice.
That kid makes $500,000 a year now.
I'm about to say he gonna be just as good as and most baseball players, you know, including myself. You know what I'm saying? That have played 10+ years in the major leagues. He could do that for 30 years and make that type of money. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yeah, sure. All right. So Ernie, shout out to Ernie out there. Great info, Coach. My son chose JUCO in Redlands, California. He felt it was best to transition into college and looked at cost. He had a 3.5 GPA, but struggled academically, and transition will be best. Looking to transfer after 2 years. All right. Redlands
is a great place. It's a good place. Good place to play. But work on your school. Work on your school. School. I'm a big school guy. You don't come to UNM just to play baseball. You come to get a degree. And I'm going to make sure you get it.
All right. Oh wow, wrong person. But all right, Coach Birmingham, you have one of our Singia boys from Vail, Arizona. Shout out to Vail. That's right. Ernie, where you been, man? I ain't seen you forever, man. Shout out to Vail, Arizona. I had a house out there.
It's a good place.
Yeah, pretty out there, man. I was out there years ago. Yeah, we probably built it all up there, but I was out there. Was nothing out there. That's why I loved it out there. But yeah, like it was too pretty. But Desmond says that was a great story about the Exxon. All right. Ernie said great advice. I can't explain. Let me see. I can't explain how great a story that is. You hear it. All right. They're talking about that story you just told with about the advice that you gave that player. So listen, Coach, so when you are been around the game as long as you have, Coach, what transitions does somebody like yourself that's you just said you I think you said you started coaching in 78. I listen, I'm usually older than most of the coaches that come on here now, right? So the fact that you've been coaching since I've been born, all right? So there has been, I can't even imagine how many multiple transitions you have had to make from being, you done been through all the transitions and stuff. So how do you keep up to date with, still hanging in there and coaching all these years and with different way of playing ball, to long ball, to small ball, to now to the technology aspect of it? Is it just hiring the right people or what?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. That's good insight. So from when I began till now, it's it's turned a lot, and a lot of my friends have not coached because of it. They got out because they couldn't make an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I don't make any adjustments. I just make a different delivery adjustment. So I was a sergeant. I was a drill sergeant when I started, baby, and running was real important. So I think a good 4 or 5 mile run was spiritual for you. and and kids are still kids. They're still 18 to 22. They're still basically good people, and they need me to help them. And I think they got it harder now than I had it, or those kids had it, because they've got more on. There's more out in front of them that's confusing. And the game hasn't changed. The game's still the game, and you still, like, there's a young lady that's a hitting coach for the Yankees now, and she tweeted out yesterday about, this is an interesting transition for me. So let's do this. So I coached by myself in junior college, and I'd have 100 kids. I couldn't throw BP to 100 kids. No way.
Right.
So in 1986, I got a Ponza Hummer, one little machine, right? And I'd juice it up, and I'd use it, and it'd put it right down the middle, and kids would hit next group, and I'd get them fast, and I wasn't soaking my arm and trying to feel it. So scouts would come in and say, use that machine a lot? And I go, yeah, I juice it up. Like, I'll shoot it in there at 100 miles an hour sometimes, because that's where they want to go. Well, you might as well smell it now.
Right.
And I get criticized for using that machine. But who uses it now?
Everybody.
You dang right.
Everybody.
I saw those kids grow, and, they conquered it. At first, they were crying about it, but they conquered it. And if you can conquer that, then you got a chance to conquer that.
Yeah, so, I would be one of those guys that would be complaining because I hated machines. But go ahead.
No, you're right. You hated it because it's hard to be on time.
Yeah.
It's hard to be on time. But the velocity more than just the swing. It was the eyes and the brain. And I wouldn't let it. I'd use old balls and new balls. So old balls would dive out of the zone.
Right.
And stay in the middle. And I tell them, swinging a bad pitch, you got to get out. And now they're just not swinging at everything. See? And now that process, because I speed the game up to slow the game down. So I see that happening now, and they're talking about how technologically cool this is and how it's new wave. It's not new wave. It's been going on a long play. But mine was out of necessity, and I realized how important it was. I use arms. I use machines. I do everything. And then the game, we inter-squat a lot so you can learn to get your timing. But all those things mixed together, hitting's hard. Hitting at a high level is really, really hard.
Yes, it is.
So I want you to feel that emotion that goes through your head when 95 to 98 goes right by you and not paying.
So speaking of 95 and 98 and how much I hate machines, right? So I see it now, in spring every day. We just pumping, getting those guys ready. What's an average on a weekend in the Mountain West Conference? What is the average mile per hour? If I'm a hitter and I'm looking into, I'm liking what you're saying, and I'm really interested in New Mexico, and I think I'm a D1 athlete. What am I looking to expect when I step foot on the New Mexico campus and we're going to play whoever in the Mountain West per weekend? What am I in store for pitching, like having to face?
Well, Steven Strasburg is in this league.
Number 1 overall pick, right?
Kid from Nevada that was with the D-backs. I've lost touch with him. He was up to 98, 100. So, 90's the low end now. When I started playing, 90 was the high end.
Right.
Now 90's the low end.
Right.
Better have a couple of sneaky soft pitches to go with it. But velocity, the way we work on hitting, velocity doesn't matter. I mean, the velocity is not going to be important. It's that guy with that dirty, filthy slider or the cambio And he got that. Now we got an adjustment to make.
I used to tell all my hitters, and I was like, listen, because guys get so caught up, and I'm asking the velo questions. I get it, but I used to tell my youth hitters, I used to be like, listen, dude, I'm like, the older you get, you want the four seam, you want that guy to try to throw it as hard as he can by you. As long as it's straight, you want to run and grab those bats and get in the box. I said it's the guys that got the slider, the changeups, and the sinkers that throw 5 or 6 mile per hour lower, but the ball doesn't move. It doesn't. It's not straight. Everything is moving. I said them the guys that you don't want to face. You guys get caught up with the velo. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, put me in the box with the guys with the high velo that think you're gonna throw it by me. As long as it's straight, I'm gonna put some wood on it or metal.
It's
So
lazy square it up.
That's right. So, but
Velos doesn't scare us. Strasburg, when we faced Strasburg, his first couple of fastballs were 98 to 100, and somebody hit him off a wall. He threw 94 curveballs that day.
I love it. That's right. No, hey, if somebody got a big fastball, you turn on it one time, it gets in their head, man. It's a wrap.
Yeah, you bring the Lobos 98, they're going to be all standing on deck at the same time.
I already know them visiting pitchers. Oh, I know they hate coming into a new. Oh, I can only imagine. So, but anyway, I got this. Jason Bush says, I remember playing against Coach Birmingham in the early 2000s. Stand-up program at New Mexico JC, and team was very, very classy. Hope my sophomore finds a college coach just like him to play for in the future.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, there you go, Jay Bush.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do for everybody that's kind of, Coach, if you don't mind, at the very end, I'd like to put either your email or Twitter or however you want. I know you're a phone call guy here and there, but there may be some kids like Jason who has, some dads out here or mom and dad that have kids that are interested in your school. So if you don't mind, if you have an email or Twitter, at the end, I'm going to post it on there, and that's, your best way for these guys to communicate with you with videos and stuff like that. I hope you don't mind if I put that up there.
Put my email on there because there's probably, since I've been at UNM, I probably helped over 200 kids that never played for me because there's a place for everybody.
Wow. You hear that, parents? Man, I'll be reaching out just because, But
about kids. It's about helping kids.
It is. You're right. You are absolutely right. So let me get this. Hold on 1 second, Coach. I just want to copy this email and post it on there. So Brenton asks, let me see here. He says, when it comes to hitting high velocity pitchers, Bond says just catch it with the bat.
Yeah, that's interesting because I saw Barry do a little clinic one time, and I agree with it because people muscle the bat. You don't want to muscle the bat. And so all he's talking about, and we have a drill at our place, so we teach those guys. The freshmen are just now going through it. I turn the machine up to Mach 9. It's probably 100 miles an hour. They get in the cage, and it looks like a bullet. I mean, going by them, they're kind of nervous. Right. If they're a right-handed hitter, I will put a left-handed glove on them like it's the top hand, and I go, you can catch that. It's easy. Just watch. And they'll go to catch it, and they go, yeah, that. Anyway, so they'll do that. You got me?
Yeah, you back on. Good.
Okay, so that's what Barry Bonds taught, and he wanted to teach you how easy this is if you don't. All these moving pieces and all these things that you're doing, simplify. Big leaguers simplify their swing. That swing you see them have now, that's not the swing they walked in the door with because somebody said, hey, that's too much. Hey. You're going to move. You got to get your hips open. You got to get your foot down. You got to get your.
Coach, you preaching right now. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. And like Bergman and all these guys with real simple approaches. And I love what you said. You are absolutely, because it brings me back to myself. But the way I swung in high school and even in the first early levels of minor league ball, I had to tone that down. There's too much going on, and I couldn't catch up to the velo. And if I could catch up to the velo, I couldn't stay back on the all speed. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta give and take and learn that, hey, I can't juice up and lay kick like I want to. I may have to hit balls 10, 15 feet. You know, like I can't give them everything I got on every, you know what I'm saying, swing and everything. When I say every swing, but basically off of my approach, because I'll leave too many holes on my swing. So that's great what you just said, Coach, because that is spot on. Gosh, you know, that's preaching. So if parents listening out here with your kids, he may be turning it up as a 14, 15 in high school, which he should be. But just understand that, you know, the higher he goes, that velo goes up. You facing the Strasburgs and all of that. You know, that swing that may work now. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna have to be dissected a little bit now. You know.
Well, I tell them, those guys that you hit all those home runs in high school, they ain't pitching here no more. They're not here.
Right.
You want to go? I'll be there either.
How long is the transition? You coaching as long as you have. Like, how long is that transition from, you know, a senior in high school who dominated, you know, and bridging that, playing at a D1 level and facing, you know, the Mountain West, you know, conference foes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, do guys make the easy transition, or, you know, how you know, what's the percentages that really get it right away, or guys have to take a year or two to come?
What year did you graduate from high school?
96.
Okay, so it wasn't too much there. But you got to be so careful today, because there's so many hitting instructors who are just trying to make a little extra change, and not guys who really know what they're doing.
Amen to that. Gosh.
In 96, when I was coaching hitters, I mean, my teams have led the country in hitting 12 times, 3 times in Division I, and then junior college we always crushed, but the pitching wasn't. But the thing that you have to be careful is that now I'm trying to get rid of all the bad habits and all the mentality. And before, in the 70s and the 80s, in the 90s, I had clay. I had virgin clay, you know. They weren't all gooed up. They were ready to just find some habits. And does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's not disrespectful to anybody, but you got, if this is important to you, you got to be careful where you go and who does, because it takes a lot of work to get rid of bad habits.
I'm glad you said that, Coach, because I made a comment in a group before, and I talked about so-called experts, and some of the comments was, oh, because they're 9 to 14-year-old kids, you know, who, you know, basically the gist I got from it was like, you know, they don't necessarily need the expert then, you know what I'm saying? They could just, you know, essentially be taught the fundamentals, you know what I'm saying, by whoever, you know what I'm saying? And I take offense to that, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I was like, those are the perfect years to get an expert and get the foundation laid during that time. And so it's hard. And, you know, so what do you say to those parents out there that feel like, you know, hey, I could take the guy around the corner who helps kids, and he may really think he knows what he's doing, you know, or you know, find that qualified guy out there, you know?
Well, you got to do your home. Way you know it's a good guy is if he can take a kid that didn't walk and chew gum at the same time and now he's hitting, that's a guy. But the kid already hit. Now he's hitting at that place. Now, wait a minute. So there's a lot of basic fundamentals in hitting that haven't changed since 1945. Right. You know, there's some basic fundamentals, and they get crazy with well, an 8-year-old hits like Aaron Judge. No.
Right.
Because it's type and everything else is different. Here's a great question. So you go to a guy, and you walk in the door and you say, I'd like my kid to take some lessons. And he said, okay, yeah, it'll be $50 for 30 minutes. You go, okay, before we do this, tell me what the most important body part in hitting is. If the guy says, scap load or back knee trigger, then don't go to that guy. The guy that says eyes, go to that guy.
Right. I love it, Coach. I love it, man. Old school teaching right here. I love it, man. A and B. I love it. Robert says, is there a lot lefty hitting catchers out there?
There's starting to be. Yeah, they're important. That's cool because I always try to get a left-handed hitting catcher and a right-handed hitting catcher, so I can pinch hit whenever I want. You move a pitcher, I move a player.
All right.
I try to have a guy on each side of the plate for every position if I can.
Do you like how do you do a lot of matchups on pretty much every game, lefty righty matchup type of guy?
If I need to, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think I'm asking now, coach to coach, do you think that prepares him for the next level though, coach? And obviously if you're the coach, you got the gauge of your players. But do you think that sets him up for success in the future in the pro game, or if he's pro material, you basically let him hit against lefty and righties?
Well, I don't even think about that. I'm trying to win. I want to. Right. And whatever I got to do to win, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. I got you, coach. You're right. Let me see here. So coaching styles, players, I asked this already. Being in Albuquerque, is there a style that's like real? You're trying to win now, every year, especially out there in Albuquerque. What is it that you're, from a player standpoint, what are you looking for as far as what's your style of play? Are you just, boppers, get that ball in the air, being in Albuquerque? Is it, what style of play are you, do you guys, go by over there in New Mexico?
Well, it depends on it depends on how every year I have to reevaluate depending on who I got. Because, if I got a really fast leadoff left-handed hitter, then I'm going to work on him setting the table because I think baseball still should have table setters and table cleaners. And now everybody wants to be a cleaner. Even if they're 145 pounds, they're trying to clean the table.
Right.
And,
right.
I try to give them roles. I try to tell them, if you're going to play in the big leagues, if you're going to move up, this is your shot. And most guys will be as a utility player. If you can catch and play good catcher, a really good catcher that can throw a little bit, and you can move to first, you can move to third, and you can play a little left and right, and you don't swing and miss, or you just swing out of your keister and hit one out of the yard every once in a while, somebody's going to take a risk on you if you have one or two tools. But you got to have the tool. The tool's got to grade out. And you got a shot. There's a kid we have now. We've had a lot of kids go to the big leagues, and a kid now with the Mariners who wanted to be a shortstop. And I told him he ran a 6.3 60, and I wanted to move him to center field. And he threw a conniption. Well, now the Mariners I said, you're going to be a role player, and you can switch hit, so you can make it. But you got all these positions that'll make you more valuable.
Yeah,
so now he's an outfielder with the Mariners.
Is he?
Yeah.
Make a lot of money over there being a valuable guy. Speaking of switch hitting, how valuable is it is having a switch hitter in your program?
There's a lot of confusion about that. So I don't think there's very many good switch hitters. I think guys on each side of the plate. Now, Eddie Murray, he can switch hit.
Right.
But there are not a lot of guys that can. They just get on the other plate. And you'll watch them, and you go, look, that's not going to happen on that side. Well, I've been doing it since I was 6. Well, you're not doing it very well. So that side of the plate needs to be your side of the plate and stay there. And I'll teach you how to stay on the ball on the other side of the plate. And you can hit that ball too. But you're going to play yourself out because you think that other side of the plate's good too. And really, when the pitching gets really good, you're going to find out it's not. There's a lot of guys. So if you keep it simple, you might can pull off, but not very. How many great switch hitters have you known?
I know one I play with, and truth be told, he was a great player, and he learned how to hit in the pro game, and that was Carlos Beltran. But
how many tried and didn't do it?
Yeah, right. Obviously, he's a borderline Hall of Famer, so it's and we'll probably be in the Hall of Fame. But and then they said, the rumor had, you always hear these rumors and stuff. Even though we came up through I first saw him it was his second year, but it was switch hitting, and it didn't look like he just started to me. You know what I'm saying? But they kept saying if he would have stayed with the right-handed only, he may not have been the player. You know what I'm saying? That he ended up becoming. So.
You see a lot of guys stayed on one side of the plate, and just Tony Gwynn and I were great friends. I loved Tony. There's a guy with great,
right.
But Tony Gwynn was a left-handed hitter, and you're a left-handed pitcher. He's still gonna hit. He gonna hit you. He gonna send a rocket by your head.
Right. Hey, this is I like switch hitting. My thing is, and I that's good advice that you're giving. So let me get this question in. Speaking of switch hitting, you kind of answered this, but let's go. Should kids try and switch hit nowadays? Seems as that is a lost trade, or do we simply teach kids how to hit home runs?
Oh wow. Yeah, we're just trying to hit home runs, and your body type's you got to know. Eventually, you get old man strength, which we call it, and the ball will start jumping off your hat. For a young kid, I say master one side of the plate, and then if you want to dabble with it, by the time if you do really really good on one side and you want to try it, then try it. I don't say don't try it, but you got to take it. You got to really evaluate, because the dominant eyes and the dominant hands. You turn them over when you get on the other side of the plate, and your feet are different. There's a lot to it. It's just not just getting on the other side of the plate. And if you're facing bad pitching, it'll trick you. So you got to be careful. You got to know, do I grow? Do I grow doing this? Does this work? You'll know. You'll see it. If you automatically do it and it works, then you got something. But if you struggle, then you might want to say, that side I don't struggle, this side I do. And then you just do some things, because really you switch hit to take away the breaking ball. That's what you pretty much do.
Right.
So if you really learn how to hit and handle a bat, you can handle that you can handle that breaking ball from her. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are right-handed hitters that hit right-handed breaking balls really well.
That's right. Yeah. So, Coach, if you could, I want you to go back on that if you could, because sometimes, especially. And I'm not disrespecting no parents that are listening in right now, okay? But I hear it all the time. People just want to, for the sake of saying my kids switch hits, but they don't understand why. You know what I'm saying? You want to hit from both sides. Because I get plenty of dads out here that's, hey, my kid's left-handed and I want to get him to switch hit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, stay with him on the left side. Like, let him learn how to master. The most right-handers want to come over to the left-hand side. You know what I'm saying? But if you could, you just said it. But if you could kind of dig a little bit deeper on that, because I think that's great advice for parents, especially for the novice parent that just enjoys watching their kid play baseball, and they think switch hitting is hard or easy, but they don't understand why kids switch hit and why these players switch hit. So if you could kind of dig a little deeper, because you said it, but I want you to go a little further on that. You know what I'm saying? What is the purpose of switch hitting?
It's to take away the breaking ball. It's to make it. That's what it's for. And guys can do it, but you'll know. And if you're not very good on one side of the plate, you might jump on the other side and see it. Nobody tests it, but eventually you got to be good on one sometime. And to go back and forth is confusing to the kid, because you change things. They don't understand it's just not just standing on the other side. The dominant eye, the dominant hands, your feet are different, the view's different. It's just hard. And so you got to be careful. And I wouldn't go to the dentist and tell the dentist that that's how I need to do something, I would never do that. And don't go to a professional hitting coach and tell the professional hitting coach how to do it. I wouldn't do that. And so you hired the guy, let him tell you what he knows and let him help you with it, because you don't go to the doctor and say, hey, this is what I want. He's going to tell you what's going on. And you're going to the hit doctor, so follow his lead.
All right, I love it. The couple more questions, coach, and I know you got practice coming up, but I appreciate the time. Aaron says, shout out to Aaron. What grade are you realistically looking at kids? Projecting freshman kids or waiting for a mature kid to offer?
Yeah, I'm not gonna commit a ninth grader. I'm gonna tell him I would like to see you. I'm really interested in you, but I'm gonna watch you over the next couple of years. But too much can happen, and I don't like breaking promises. It's not good.
And what do you say to those coaches that, I mean, I don't want to put you on blast like that, but what do how many words just right without, but.
No, I know what you're trying to say. The head coach sends out a bunch of young recruiters sometimes, and I get it, but this game has gotten so crazy since back in 78 and 79, we waited till your senior year and watched you your senior year, and then we scrambled to get you. And now there's guys doing eighth graders. Are you kidding me?
I know. Here's the
other thing I tell parents. You don't recruit to school. You let them know somehow that you're interested and then let it play out. Because if you force your kids into a situation by lobbying and jockeying and forcing your way in there, 9 times you're going to be sad.
Say that again, coach. Can you just, because that's a nugget right there, man. That's a nugget right there. Can you please just repeat what you just said? That was great information, please.
Don't force your way in the door, because you're going to be sad. You're going to be upset. It's not going to work out. First of all, I want to control my recruiting. Don't you try to control it for me, because it'll be a bad relationship. And the way it works out the best is if the guy asks the girl out for a date and she says yes. That's how it should be. And we don't do that.
So when you get these parents that keep harping and or the legion or the summer league coach and stuff, kind of, hey coach, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that the ones that kind of forcing you to, make a decision that you don't really, is that basically what's happening or what?
It's happening all across the country, and it's never ends up healthy. 9 times out of 10, it never ends up healthy. Just let it play out and don't be so anxious about it. It'll happen the way it's supposed to happen. And let the kid play and let them ask you. Don't you ask them.
So if a kid has interest in New Mexico, coach, I put the email up there. So when he has interest, you preferably sounds like sophomore yearish, you know what I'm saying? And send some information out there. You're going to look at it from there, and then you're going to do the necessary homework there. So if you really like the kid, you know where to go. Your resources and your connections and stuff to reach out to that particular kid. You don't necessarily need recruiting services or coaches and all these people, you know what I'm saying, harping, hey, who's this kid? Can you know what you're doing?
Once you let me know, then you did your job. And great. I thank you. I thank you very much. It's easier now than when I was coaching in the 70s, because it was a jar full of quarters in my pickup truck trying to drive around the country and make payphone calls to somebody's house. Right. So now I just get on the internet. These guys think they're recruiting gurus. It was way hard. So what we'll do is say you see that whole wall there? We have a wall full of names. And we got that name. You send me a name. He goes up on that wall. And somewhere during the next year, we make a phone call to check. And if it says there's gold, we call back. And they there's gold, we call back again. So, and eventually somebody will either cross you off that list or somebody will say put him higher on that list. But the person who does it is the kid on the field. I don't want anybody. And an old scout told me, don't go to the game trying to see your guy be a guy. Make him tell you yes 3 times. Make his play tell you he's good at least 3 times, and cross check it. And so the proof in the pudding's on the field. That's where it's at. I really don't get too caught up if you have 110 mile per hour bat speed, and I really don't get caught up in any of that. I want to go see you play the very best team you can play against, and I want to see you kick butt. And if you kick butt in that game, now we got something. Now something happened.
I love it, Coach. You're preaching right now. I love it, man. So the Jason asked one more question. I have a 15-year-old that's a great middle infielder. He's a top of the order guy, but thinks he needs to hit home runs to get noticed. What do I tell him?
No.
Perfect question at this time.
Can he run? Yes. He's 15 years old. He will. If he hits home runs, it'll happen. Because I'm going to tell you, people, baseball evolves. Ballparks will evolve. They'll start building them different. You know, my good buddy and the kid I love to death, Alex Bregman. He got that short porch in Houston that helps him a little bit.
Yes, it does.
But then something's going to happen. You know, there's too many home runs here. Owners say that. We need to tone it a little bit. So now it's going to be 350 to left instead of 315 to left. And things. So you just get to where you can execute the game. And if you're a little guy, I'll go back to table setters. I like for a bunch of 2 guys to set the table and then 1 guy to hit it out. There's a table cleaner and there's a table setter. And we're becoming too one-dimensional in baseball. Tony Gwynn, like I said, Tony Gwynn was a good friend of mine, and I love Tony Gwynn. He's my hero. And Tony Gwynn hit 390 one year. And I thought he was going to hit 400. Hit 400 in the big leagues.
Right,
and,
crazy.
Yeah. And Tony told him, as he told me, he goes, I didn't change my swing. He said, I had a really fast guy running in front of me. He was stealing 70, 80 bases. I got nothing but fastballs. It wasn't that hard to hit. Understand the game. Greg Maddux is a friend of mine. Greg Maddux would say, guy asked him, he said, what do you do when you face Tony Gwynn? He goes, well, I pitch Tony Gwynn so he just singles through the 5.5 hole because I know I'll mess around. He's going to hit one out of the yard or a double. So I get him to single through the 5.5 hole. I pitch it over there. He hits a single. The next guy, I know I can get him to chop into a double play. I get them both. That's thinking like a baseball player. Baseball player needs everything. It needs speed. It needs table setters. It needs defenders. It's not just a home run game.
I hope you heard that, Jason. That's preaching right there, man. Oh, man. Great. Jason says perfect. Thank you, sir. You're right. I mean, that was good. Great advice. And I'm sure, Jason, you're probably telling him that, but it needs that D1 coach to kind of get that message across, because sometimes you're just dad. So,
Big D, I know you would have loved to hit behind a guy who steals 80 bases.
I mean, listen, like give me the four seam and all of that, and sometimes I'll just tell him, I'm like, listen, steal as much as you can, but you know, I'm gonna give you 1 or 2 pitches early. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. I'm like, go, give me a little RBI opportunity. Because then once he does steal it, then I think that guy's going to pitch me different too. You know what I'm saying? Because he got a base open now.
He'll pitch around you once first base is open.
Exactly. But, so I gotta hope my guy behind me got a little thump behind me. You know. So.
But steal 80 bases, but know when to steal them.
Right. And I had to learn that the hard way because my guys in front of me, they used to get mad at me getting thrown out and stuff. But anyway, on that, so a couple questions, Coach, and I'll get you out of here. I appreciate it, man. How can I motivate my son to enjoy baseball? How can motivate my son enjoy baseball? Great hitter can't run. How can I motivate my son and
I
enjoy
got
the?
you.
I guess
I
this
got
kid
you,
can't
my
run,
son.
and
First of all, have fun. Baseball's a father-son game, man. And you hand him off to the coaches and let the coaches coach him. You don't coach him till you talk to him after the game. One song sheet. If you let somebody else coach him, let them coach him. And then you let him talk to you about the game and you help him. But baseball, you got to love, man. The guys who are really good at this game love it. And don't take the love for the game. I don't care if you go 0 for 4. You make sure if he played hard, love him up. Love him up. Give him nothing but love. That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, but I didn't get a hit. Who cares? You made a great play in the hole and threw a guy out and saved 2 runs. Let's talk more about everything else in this game. You went from first to third on a ground ball. You should not have gone from first to third. It got through the hole on the right side. You got over there and scored a run. That hustle won the game. Let's talk about that.
So results, the kid, and I know we all know how hard it is. So the kid will get two blue jam shot, ugly swing hits, which you're happy because the hit is hard to come by. But the kid that hits 2 bullets is walking home mad because he went 0 for 2. And he actually hit the ball harder, but the results wasn't there. But he walks home mad because so-and-so got 2 hits over there, but he don't understand he had 2 better ABs than the guy that got the hits and all of that because it's so results oriented, especially young. I've started coaching at 12, 13, 14, and they I didn't get no hit, whatever, but they don't understand like the littlest things that they did right, and it's up to, I guess, coaches or dads to explain this. You know what I'm saying? To them.
Well, I'll tell you this. We're playing, and it was for the championship. We were playing for the Mountain West Championship against San Diego State. And we have a kid that I harped on all fall because he didn't want to bunt because he thought he was pretty special. So he couldn't drag bunt. And so we worked hours and hours on drag bunt and push bunt. So he comes up, close ball game. There's 2 outs. And there's a runner on second, and I have him drag bunt. Now he's thinking, I got to drag it. I got to hit a homer here. And I go, no. You got to drag bunt because you hadn't hit a homer since 1998, right? And it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
So he laid down a drag bunt, and he laid down a drag bunt because the guy behind him had a hot bat. So we got runners at first and third, and they don't have to pitch around our guy. And the guy hits a 3-run homer, and we win the conference. After the game, the kid that put down the drag bunt got the game ball. We have to brag. We have to brag about stuff other than the big home run over the lights. We got to brag about the game. Everything matters, and we have to teach them that. We're becoming too one-dimensional. There's too much here.
Hey, I agree, and it's honestly, Coach, it's a lot to do with the players, but it has a lot to do with the coaches too. Because I a few years ago, and I'm not gonna name the area or anywhere, but this particular high school, they went to the seminars and found out, this is when Josh Donaldson, did the whole video on, hitting the ball in the air and launch angle and all this craziness, right? So he had the whole team. The seminar is November, December. High school baseball starts in January. You got freshmen all the way through seniors on this, and he's going to teach those kids what Josh Donaldson has done his whole life, Major League Baseball player. He's going to teach them in 6 weeks before the game starts to hit the ball in the air and launch angle craziness and all that type of stuff. And so now you have second basemen, little guys thinking that they have to, crush balls and all of that, because the coach telling them to do it, one. And two, you know what I'm saying, you know, the coaches got it from a seminar that, you know, he saw it. And sometimes, and these are so-called quality high school programs. And to me, it hurts those kids, you know what I'm saying? Because the numbers are not there. Obviously, it hurts their program because they don't win the games. But to me, I don't even understand in your psyche and your mindset, you know, to even attempt to want to do something like that and think that you know, even though Josh Donaldson's a great hitter, you know what I'm saying, and you know, hell, I'm a major league hitter and I couldn't do the things that he's teaching, you know what I'm saying, even when I was in my prime, you know what I'm saying, and so, you know, I you know, sometimes I just think the coaches mess these kids up too, just as much as the kids wanting to see the home run hit and I want to see how much I could juice balls, but it's the coaches too, you know.
You know what? They spend so much time on that stuff instead of evaluating how the game's going to help this young man. The game teaches you so much. It teaches humility. It teaches you how to overcome adversity. It teaches you so much. And there's different ways to skin a cat, and there's different ways to bring value. And we got to value. Our job is to evaluate that kid, what he can do, and give him self-esteem through his value. And he can do. We always have a kid on our team, and he's probably a track guy that we teach how to run bases. And late in the game, he's gonna make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do a hit and run, and we're gonna split a gap, and we're gonna get that run in because ain't nobody getting him. And so, and we value that. We tell him how important that part of our team, because it's a team, and we're losing that. The team is important. The bullpen catcher, we buy him a steak because he went down there, he didn't get in the game, and he caught 6 guys that day. He's got bruises everywhere. He can't even walk. The left knee's all swollen. Give him something because he's important, because if he don't get those guys loose, they don't get to pitch. Let's emphasize everything that we do. And not everybody has to be the same. That's what's beautiful about baseball.
Yep.
And so let me give you an example. The kid quarterbacking for Kansas City played at Texas Tech. Great kid. Outstanding. His dad was a big leaguer, baseball player.
Yeah. I know Pat well.
Yeah, great guy, great family.
Yep.
So we're on the, you know, I'm talking to him after we take BP, they take BP, and he's a pitcher, so he's on the bucket, right?
Right.
So I said, "What are you going to do, kid?" And he says, "I think I'm just going to play football." Now I seen him pitch, but I seen him quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's a great call. That's a great call because you're forcing this issue, but that other one, your money. And so he went strictly to football.
Yeah, I heard he's a pump in those 90s off the mound, you know?
Yeah, he was. But behind the center, oh my gosh.
Obviously, right? Yeah. You know,
so you got to evaluate who you are. You can't just do it because somebody else said it. You got to have a personal evaluation. What you can do. Guys, left-handed hitters that can run, you know, chop the ball and leg it. You'll beat the throw every time, especially through high school. The Baltimore chop, who does that now?
Oh, no, tell me who. I don't know. You tell me. I can't think off the top. You gonna give me the name?
Ichiro used to just drop that.
I was thinking Ichiro, but Ichiro ain't playing no more. That's the first guy that came to my mind, but he's not playing no more. So I couldn't.
He could fly.
Yeah, I did think Ichiro, but I'm trying to think the guys now playing. You know that you know can do that, man. But you know this is.
I say, hey, just lay the bat on the ball. They go, what does that mean?
And it's what irritates me, coach, is because again it's a result orientated, right? So I got guys that I've coached in the showcase level, high school level. They're out there, fast guys, plus runners, all right. But again, and again, that's why this is my flaw as a coach, not having them understand as much as I think I'm telling them, but obviously it's not getting across to certain guys. They rather strike out 2 to 3 times. Go up there hacking and in a showcase atmosphere to show that they can hit. instead of them going out there showcasing their skills with just putting them with 2 strikes, just like you just said, slapping on the ground and run a 3-8 down first base from the right side and let that scout, whatever crew, to see how fast you run. They don't understand that aspect of it where
that guy's going to come out of his seat when he sees a 3-8 down the line. He's going to go, "Who's that?"
On a routine ground ball, right?
Huh?
On a routine ground ball, they would. Yes, I'm trying to say, on a routine ground ball, you will have a scout get goosebumps off of you running down first base instead of, and they're, saying from a kid's standpoint is, man, I got to get a hit to show what I can do. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go down chasing balls all over the place because they want to get a hit to show what they can do. And these guys are plus runners. I used to get so irritated with these guys, man. So
well, we got to teach. We got to because somebody else is controlling our narrative to our kids. TV and Twitter, and we got to coach them up. We got to coach them up, and we got to, because you watch them walk in, and all they're thinking about is home runs.
Yep.
They go, hey, dude, you look like you should be riding a horse in the Kentucky Derby. You should be, you should drag bunt, push bunt, and walk because you can really run. And I would love to hit behind a guy that can really run. Because the pitcher's distracted, he's going to leave one out over the middle of the plate, and I'm going to hit it 9 miles. Understand the game. The game is so beautiful if you understand the game. Don't make it one-dimensional.
Preach, coach. All right. So
I love the game. I could learn. I love listening to the game. I've been all over the world coaching and hearing how guys approach it. I go, that's genius. That's amazing.
So you're saying a guy that's been coaching 40 plus years can still learn the game? Is what you're telling me, Coach?
In a heartbeat.
All right, you heard it there. All right, Coach. Last question, man. How can young players? Here come 2 come in now. All right, last 2 questions. All right, I'll get you out of here, Coach. Ernesto says, "How can our young players think baseball all year long? Is this teaching them right?"
No, don't let them do it all year long. Because let's take Omar Vizquel.
I guess we'll be right back on. There you go. All right, Coach, you're back on. Got it.
Was a great soccer player too. And so was the Sandman. The Sandman was a good soccer player. Did you know that?
You talking about Mariano?
Yep.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were both good soccer players. And they were better at soccer at a young age than they were at baseball. But then those guys needed, those guys down there, they're trying to find 9 guys who'll go play with them.
Right.
Just like you and I used to, right? We tell a kid we'll buy him candy if he'll come be the right fielder. We need 9 guys. Those are good old days. So they begged him to go play baseball. Well, Omar's footwork is unbelievable. That's what made him a good infielder. And somebody saw that and said, hey, soccer made him the great shortstop that he was. And so the Sandman was a goalie. And you could see his spread, right? And he got, and so his legs, he was in great shape with his legs. When they taught him how to use his legs, all of a sudden his velocity jumped. So other sports teach you how to compete. They teach you how to adapt. And back when I was a kid, you had to play 3. You had to play football, basketball. I was terrible at basketball. I was terrible. and baseball. And so you'd get out there after you've been playing the other sport, man, you learn how to adapt. You learn quick. You learn quick to think, and so it develops you. It's part of the development.
All right. And so, Brenton, I hope you got that question answered, you know what I'm saying? Because he just went into the multiple sports, So I think you find out what Coach feels about multiple sport athletes. All right. I
find that they're more competitive. They're more competitive. I just find that out. You were a great football player.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my favorite. Like you just said, I felt like I was better at football than baseball, but people around my way seem to think different. But
well, they were going to pay you a lot more money to play baseball.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Ricky Henderson was the #1 running back in the country. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yep.
Well, you could tell, man. Great athlete, man. So
competitor, fierce competitor.
Yep. You got a lot of comments coming in, Coach. You got my son really needs this type of coach. One of the best interviews ever. All right. Ernesto says thanks, Coach. All right.
God bless you. God bless you.
He said, great coach. This one says, this guy is the best you've had on, brother Jansen. All right, well, that's saying a lot, Coach. I've had almost close to 100 coaches on, brother. So let me see here. Great coach. All right. So listen, Coach, I'm gonna ask. You've been giving great nuggets. I always have my guest in with a great message. Give me one. I'm gonna give my little shout outs and give get it out the way. But then I want you to end this with a great message. So tomorrow, parents, 4 p.m. Eastern, I will have Central Arkansas Junior College, Powerhouse Junior College head coach coming on tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. September 26th against Jackson State Community Colleges. Jackson State Community College workout will be there. I've gotten maybe 3 or 4 college coaches committed to watching the live stream on top of the 20-something I already had. October 17th, Atlanta Showcase. We are securing, talk today, a group out of Dallas. We may do a nice little Dallas-Fort Worth showcase October 24th. We're kind of hinting at that, and we're trying to get that locked down. And then November 6th, it's going to stay down in Waco, Texas, Houston area, trying to get those Texas showcases out of the way. So, Coach, I'll shoot you an email or something, and hopefully you get in on one of those streaming lives if you got the time on a Saturday. And I'll shoot those messages out to you. Florida, right, Javier. I'm trying to lock down my boy down in Florida. He's supposed to hit everything up. I'll get that to you. October 10th, we're supposed to be in Florida, so we'll get that. Trust me, I'm trying to all month October. I'm just gonna be dating and traveling. So, trying to give you guys that maximum exposure to get in front of coaches like Coach Birmingham here. So anyway, listen, Coach. If you could, please give us a great message, man. This is like I agree. This has kind of been one of my best, just talking baseball and entertaining, and it's just great when you have a guy that's been around the game as long as you have, man. I know basically sitting with you, you could tell stories upon stories, man. But I enjoyed my time, brother. If you could, for the parents that are still listening, and I appreciate every one of you guys still listening in. If you could take us out on a message, man, I'll appreciate it, Coach.
Play baseball because you love it. Play baseball because it's the greatest thing in the world. Don't worry about anything else. Just love the game. Love your teammates, love your coaches, and play the game because it's so much fun.
Simple. All right, simple and plain. And trust me, if you love it the way Coach said to do it, the heat, the travel, the exhaustion, the long days, the ups and downs with your teammates, the ups and downs with your coaches, the ups and downs with your parents, it makes it all worth it if you truly love it. Coach, am I right or wrong?
No, I'll tell you. So let's take 2 kids that I've been around with at a young age. Alex Bregman, Francisco Lindor. When they came onto the field, they were the happiest, most excited kids that they got. They were that energy. I went, holy smoke. And that started at 8 years old.
Wow.
And that's the key because they love the game so much. It's fun. Watch them when they play. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're cutting up. They're having fun.
Yep.
If you have fun, you play better. You get better.
Yep. Absolutely. And Coach is absolutely correct. And I'll just piggyback and I'll leave at this. I used to be jealous, not only because he was so good, but because the amount of fun he was having, and that was Manny Ramirez. Yeah. I want you to understand this. When I would watch this guy play, he would have a water bottle sometimes in his back pocket in the outfield. You could just tell that he just loved to do what he do. Here he is. This guy has made over $100 million plus. Probably close to 200 million. And he's playing in Australia right now. He was playing in Japan in the minor leagues. He don't need the money. He just loves to play. And it came off when he was, everybody told him Manny being Manny. You could tell he was a student of the game. But I always just say, I wish I had that type of love where because you could just tell he would just be you would tell like it ain't about the money, and he's obviously showing it now. You know what I'm saying? In his 40s, still out there playing in Australia and Japan or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, this guy loves the game so much that you could tell that it ain't about the money. He just wants to be out there and seeing the ball, hitting the ball, and see how far he can hit it, taking it back to old school where he grew up in Dominican and New York. You know what I'm saying? Like those guys. So Coach said, Bergman, Lindor, you always see him with a smile on the face. It goes a long way. So let your kids have fun, parents. And Coach, I appreciate this. Ernie, yes, this is recorded. You can listen to the replay. If you go to my fan page, it will be recorded. Share this, parents still listening, tag this, share this message. Share the whole interview, you know what I'm saying, to people that need to hear this, okay? So, Coach, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure.
Love you, D. Take
care. Love you too, brother. Thank you so much, man. Great meeting you. Moving in contact, man.
Mi casa, su casa.
Hey, I'm coming back to Albuquerque, man. Hey, I love, parents. Albuquerque is a beautiful place. And I started off the interview with that, and I'm going to end it, all right? So any type of camps Coach has or anything like that, trust me, man. Just take a trip. Beautiful scenery out there. Beautiful part of the country out there, man. You won't go wrong out there. I was pleasantly surprised how much I really love Albuquerque. So again, I'm an advocate, all right. And now I meet the coach, and I'm loving the coach. So listen, go out there and send some film out to Coach, or holler at me, and I'll get that information to you. All right, Coach. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much.
Love you, D. See you.
Love you too, brother. Parents, 4 p.m. tomorrow. See you guys.